The origin of the most feared nicknames in criminal history. They were not just names, but marks of power, fear, and legend. Al Capone. He was branded Scarface after a bar fight in Coney Island in 1917, left him with 3 deep scars across his cheek. The press made it famous, but Capone hated it. Among his close friends, he preferred to be called Snorky, a slang word for stylish and elegant. Benjamin Siegel. He was unpredictable and violent. His companions called him Bugs, meaning crazy, and from that came Bugsy. But Siegel despised the nickname and wanted everyone to use only Ben. Ellsworth Johnson, the legendary boss of Harlem, had a bump on the back of his head since childhood. That small physical defect became his mark, and the streets knew him as Bumpy. Tony Accardo. His first nickname came from Al Capone, who called him Joe Batters after Accardo beat traitors to death with a baseball bat. Years later, newspapers gave him another, Big Tuna, after he proudly posed with a giant tuna he caught in Florida. John Gotti. In the 1980s, journalists called him the Teflon Don because no criminal charges seemed to stick. For years, Gotti walked out of court a free man until his final conviction in 1992. George Kelly. Born George Barnes, he became Machine Gun Kelly thanks to his wife, Catherine. She encouraged him to pose with the Thompson submachine gun, and soon everyone knew him by that name. Lester Gillis. He was a vicious outlaw with the face of a teenager. That contrast earned him the name Babyface Nelson, which followed him through his short and violent career. Charles Floyd. The press called him Pretty Boy Floyd after a woman described him as having rosy cheeks. Floyd hated it because he wanted to be remembered as a feared bank robber, not as a pretty boy. Charles Luciano. Born Salvatore Lucania, he carried the nickname Lucky. Some say it came from a shortening of his last name, others from his skill at gambling. But the legend stuck after 1929, when he survived a brutal beating and stabbing that would have killed most men. Arthur Flegenheimer. He reinvented himself with a new identity, becoming Dutch Schulz. Dutch reflected his German heritage, while Schulz was borrowed from another gangster in the Bronx. It was a name designed to make him sound harder and more dangerous. These were the nicknames that marked the history of organized crime. More than simple names, they became part of the legend.